When a Man Leaves a Woman is the 20th episode of Two of a Kind, and this is a really great episode. We have stories focusing on Mary-Kate and Ashley and also Kevin and a little bit of Carrie as well. And there will be some small spoilers as I discuss what happens in this, and I will also discuss what happens with Mary-Kate, which is a bit of a spoiler, but it's really emotional. So I'm just going to say spoilers from now. So the story with Kevin is that he is trying to break up with Nancy, but he is just not being able to do it. He's really struggling with it. And the scene, as I said, these are spoilers, the scene where he does eventually break up with her, I thought was pretty funny and very well done, mostly because of the other customer. There's a woman who's sitting on a table or at a table nearby, and she interjects at one point, kind of in support of Kevin, and I thought she was very, very funny, very well done. And the part of the episode that focused on Carrie was maybe not the most interesting. She's been going riding with Paul, and we get to see a little bit of that. It is light-hearted, it is done well, but that leads us into the story with Mary-Kate, but I'll come back to that at the end. We then have part of the narrative focusing on Ashley, and this is a pretty great lesson for the target audience, people of Mary-Kate and Ashley's age at the time, because Ashley really wants this purse. And Kevin says no, she's not getting this purse because she needs to manage her own money more sensibly, which is fair enough. But she kind of goes behind his back and orders the purse on the internet, which is obviously a terrible, terrible thing to do. And the plan was for it to arrive when Kevin wasn't at home. But Kevin was at home, and obviously he realised that he hadn't ordered anything from Bloomingdale's. Why was this arriving? And obviously Ashley had no choice but to confess to what she'd done, and quite rightly Kevin grounded her for 2 weeks. We get a great scene with Ashley and also Matt. I love the fact that David Lascher is still in this, where he might be teetering on the edge of letting her go to the party, but he keeps going back and forth, and ultimately his going back and forth winds Ashley up so much that she just says, forget it, I'm not meant to go to the party. And I thought that was a very fun way of concluding that part of the story without Ashley sneaking out to the party. And then we come to Mary-Kate. And for the most part, Mary-Kate doesn't seem to have a prominent role in this episode. But something was said when Carrie was riding that Mary-Kate had been going down to the stables, and Kevin had been under the impression that ever since her mother died, Mary-Kate no longer went down to the stables because, well, presumably it reminded her of her mother. So Kevin goes down to the stables when Mary-Kate is there, and she's brushing the horse, and it's a beautiful scene. And he says to her, did you stopped coming down because it reminded you of your mother? And she said, and this was difficult to hear because it's really emotional. And she explained that no, she stopped going down because she worried that her riding would remind Kevin of her mother and would upset Kevin, which on the one hand is so sweet and so moving, but also so emotional. And Kevin explains to her, and I think this was beautifully done, that, well, actually, yes, it would remind him of her mother, but that's not a bad thing. And that it's okay to think of her mother and to remember her. And it was just a beautiful exchange and a beautiful way to conclude that part of the story. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought that When a Man Leaves a Woman was a great episode with a lot of things going on, a lot of parts of the narrative. Everything was edited together really well. Everything flowed beautifully. And we had a nice little emotional moment as well. Definitely a really brilliant episode.